It's the 2016 Millrose Games, which is indoor track and field's most prestigious event. A New York City sports staple, the meet moved to the New Balance Track and Field Center at the Armory in Washington Heights in 2012 after having called Madison Square Garden home from 1914 to 2011. The games, established by employees of Wanamaker's department store, feature track and field's most prolific male and female stars, as well as collegiate, high school, club, and youth competitors. More than 200 athletes share the distinction of being both Millrose and Olympic champions. In November of 2013, New York Roadrunners became the title sponsor of the NYRR Millrose Games, which is hosted by the Armory Foundation.
Press conference for the 109th Millrose Games in New York City, and it will take place at the Mecca of indoor track, the Armory in Washington Heights. Without further ado, though, allow me to introduce the president of the Armory Foundation and the president of the Millrose Games, Dr. Norbert Sander.
Thank you very much, Ian, and I want to welcome everyone here today. We have a great turnout. We're going to have a terrific track meet. I want to acknowledge, of course, our title sponsorship of the Millrose Games, the New York Roadrunner, New York Roadrunner Millrose Games. It's our 109th year, 104 years at Madison Square Garden, 5 years now at the Armory. We're going to have a meet with performances, I think everyone would agree, as good as ever in the entire 109-year history of the Millrose Games. I'd like to acknowledge also our media sponsor, USA Track and Field, and this will be televised live from 4 to 6 o'clock on Saturday on NBC Sports Network, and it should be a very good production. I'd like to also tell you there are going to be over 1,000 athletes in the Millrose Games. The pinnacle of the Millrose Games are our elite professional athletes, and this is a terrific year for everyone. This is the Olympic year, the road to Rio, and it's really an occasion for us to celebrate that. But we would also, at the Armory and at the Millrose Games, like to pause. This meet is a standalone meet, as it has been for 109 years. If you win at the Millrose Games, you've won something that will stay with you for the rest of your life, wherever you go. And we look at it that way. It's a tremendous event. Ray Flynn, our meet director, has put together a wonderful fields, very competitive. We're going to have some of the best results, I think, in some events that we've ever had.
This is a very special weekend here in New York for the fans, obviously the fans of track and field, but also for our kids. Dr. Sander explained some of the programs that New York Roadrunners puts on. It's very important for us here to get our youth moving. It's the partnership that we have with the Armory and the sponsorship of the New York Roadrunners Wanamaker Mile is really what it's about for us. It's about our mission, and our mission in New York Roadrunners is to help and inspire people through running, all ages and abilities. And you see that here. We have young kids that are going to be up running the Armory track this weekend.
So let me open up with arguably the world's greatest athlete. I was just looking this morning, as I tend to do it, looking at track and field news, and I see this rather handsome young man here. 2015 Man of the Year, Ashton-Eaton. And Ashton, I'm just wondering, when I reflect back on last year's performance, how do you follow that Tarzan-esque exploit of diving over the finish line matting? Is it impossible? Could you do it again?
I think the secret to that was how unexpected it was. So I can't really answer that question because I think in order to follow it up, I just have to surprise myself. I think I was just really lucky to be physically okay after that. I remember landing on my feet somehow on the other side of the deal, looking around like, what just happened? Half a second, and all of a sudden, I'm on my feet. And I don't know. I don't know how I got hurt, and I'm sure my coach was wiping his brow from sweat or something like that, but who knows? This year I'll be a little bit more careful for sure.
What was the first thing that Brianne said to you when she got to you?
You should have leaned more and you would have won.
Ashton, so your 60-meter hurdles and the long jump,
Yep.
you in good shape?
Yeah, I think so. Earlier this year, we went to a meet in North Carolina, and I ran the hurdles and did some other events, and we kind of just saw where we were, and I was kind of disappointed with some of my performances, so I went back to training and got after it a little bit. Did the pole vault and the 60 last weekend in Boston, and I'm getting a little bit quicker, so I'm excited to run the hurdles and do the long jump, always against the specialists because it helps me rise to another level, and I'm looking forward to seeing what I can do and hopefully being on the path to getting ready for World Indoors and, of course, the big deal at the end of the year.
So Ashton, my understanding is that when you go to Europe and airports, you can't go through airports very easily because the public is really aware of you. Is that the case?
I would say definitely in Europe I get recognized a little bit more so than here in the United States.
Why would that be? I mean, I guess it's a pro sport nation, but isn't that wonderful tribute to European enthusiasm for the sport?
In my opinion, track and field is a sport that's encouraged on young kids when they're younger, or just on young kids when they're in school, and I think it's just a byproduct of that.
And Brianne, a question for you with regard to your husband. He's such a superstar. Is he a diva at home? Does it go to his head? I can't imagine it does, but you can tell me.
No, Ash hasn't changed since I first met him, and I'm not sure if a lot of people know this, but I often explain him as like a 4-year-old kid. And when I tell people that, I think they don't believe me, but he gets really excited about stuff. So like it could be something really simple. We go to Disneyland and he's literally exactly like the 4-year-old kids at Disneyland. Yeah, he got a paper shredder for his birthday one year, and like his face, I like took a picture while he was opening it. It was like he got the coolest toy ever. Like he gets so excited about stuff, and I think he's pretty, I don't know, almost like naive in a way. He just like is experiencing things and doesn't really listen to what other people are telling him about it. He wants to experience everything for himself before he comes up with an opinion. So I think he's always been like that.
So Ashton, how important is Brianne to you?
Oh, she's tremendously important. I actually attribute...
As if you'd say anything else.
Yeah. Actually, Rosie, Kemoy, do you guys want to sit down? Okay. I think you should do that if you want to. No, seriously. Yeah. I attribute a lot of my success, especially now later in my career, to the stuff that Brianne has brought into my life. Just, first of all, it's a team effort, so that helps a lot. And just the dedication and things that she thinks about to help us improve in our sport are things that I would have never thought of. So things just like nutrition and just making the right decisions about, hey, let's go on a hike or go on a sweet road trip because I want to see this place. And she's like, no, we have tough training, things like that. So it's been a team effort and always for the positive. It's really been awesome.
Brianne, now we'll 60-meter hurdles. Is that the only event this weekend for you?
Yeah, that's
the only event.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only event. Just focusing on that this weekend, so hopefully I can get a good race.
And how are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, we've been focusing a lot on competition this year. We're doing quite a few indoor meets and just trying to get sharp for the World Indoors.
And you are, of course, the Canadian record holder and silver medalist in the World Championships this year. So I guess this is, again, the road to Rio for you and the Copacabana Beach.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be spending much time there, but yeah, it's all focused on Rio with specific meets in mind. Obviously, this one being one of the big indoor meets, World Indoors, and then moving to outdoors, a couple of big meets before Rio.
Questions for Brianne? Yes. Could you tell me who you are, sir, as well?
Robert Johnson with Let's Run. Brianne, do you ever feel overshadowed by your husband? I mean, there's sort of, you're introduced as sometimes sort of as an accessory when in fact you're the two-time, silver medalist in the world championship. So would it be nice for both of you to win gold maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely be nice to win my own gold medal since I've had silver a couple times in a row now. In college, I think I definitely felt overshadowed a little bit. Ashton being a year older than me, it was always, his sophomore year, he wins NCAAs. And my sophomore year, I win NCAAs, but that year he's a junior and he breaks the collegiate record. So it was always kind of one thing, 1 year ahead and doing one thing better. But I think since I've been a professional athlete and kind of competing for my own country, I feel like I'm my own separate person more than I did in college. And I think that's helped a lot.
Yes, David.
Yeah, Dave Hunter, Track and Field News and Running Network. Ashton took some time talking about the team effort and some of the benefits that go along with both of you working together as a team. What are some of the challenges of having two world-class athletes under the same roof?
I would say the benefits of training together and having two world-class athletes in one house, the benefits outweigh the negatives, I guess, but maybe some of the negative things are there can be a lot of tension and focus for the bad, I think. Sometimes at home when something doesn't go well or we're both worried or stressed out or we didn't compete good, it's harder to both calm down. When one person's kind of upset, the other one can help calm them down, but when we're both like that, it's a little bit tough. But for the most part, I would say we're pretty good at separating life at home and life on the track. We get home and we're just being normal people. We try not to talk about track. We try not to, watch too many videos and obsess about it too much. So I would definitely say that there's way more benefits than negatives.
Thanks, Brianne. Now we come to the young man. I'm not sure, are you a thorn between two roses or a rose between two thorns? Don't answer that. Andre de Grasse, he's the NCAA 100-meter champion and, of course, the world bronze medalist in Beijing. And Andre, I was looking in the program, 1996, Donovan Bailey, also from Canada, won it, and Bruni Surin in 1997. Can you do it? Can you come and win the 60?
I'm not going to probably put my shoes in Donovan and Bruni, but I'm definitely just going to try to come out here and, give it my all and see what happens.
You come in confident, or are you the Canadian type that's very low-key?
I would say I'm low-key.
Yeah. We love Canadians in New York, I have to tell you. We love welcoming them. So the training this indoor season, how's it gone? What have you been focusing on?
I would say, it's been going well. Just made a new switch, and I was in LA, and now I'm in Arizona. So it's a different atmosphere, different coach, getting adjusted to new things. But I'd say overall it's going very well. I've been trying to just work on my transition phase and my block starts, because that's I know that's what I need to work on. So if I get that right, I know things are going to go well.
I guess you like the heat. I mean, LA is one type of heat, but Arizona, that's can be really hot there. You like it hot?
Yeah, LA is, the ocean's right there, so there's always a breeze, but now I'm in Arizona, it's some dry heat, so definitely got to drink more water, and I think my first week I was there, I was kind of dehydrated, so it was kind of rough during training.
Okay. Questions for Andre from the floor? Peter Gambaccini, Runner's World, for the moment. Yeah, for the moment. Yeah.
Andre, is the 60 as good an event for you as the 100 outdoors, would you say? Is it as strong an event for you as that?
No, it's not a strong event. I'm not going to lie to you.
And is it basically because of the start is the issue? Or?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But I've been working on it this year, so I think I'm better than I was last year at the start. So I think I'll be okay. I'll be okay at this meet.
Yes, young lady there, Rick. Rick's moving around with the microphone. I've never seen him move so fast.
Hi, Carrie Gillespie from the Toronto Star. Andre, a lot has changed for you. The world's medals, turning pro, changing training bases. Can you talk a bit about how you feel differently now?
It's a hard question to answer. I feel like I've had a lot of ups and downs. You know, it was a little stress-wise. You know, back in 2015, trying to figure out go professional, go back to school, and a lot of things have been going through my mind, like how am I going to handle this? How am I going to handle that? But luckily, I've had a great supporting base, and you know, a lot of family and friends been helping me out through the situation. So. Basically, you know, they've been helping me get through this whole thing and just going into 2016. So I'm ready to get that off my mind now and just focus on this season.
Yes.
Stephanie Genzer from CBC. Andre, it is a big year and it's your first meet as a pro. I want to ask you about expectations. Do you put them on yourself, or is it all the stuff around you, you think?
There's always expectations. I know a lot of people, you know, it's my first meet, even though I still got to come out here and compete. So a lot of things can happen, but I'm just ready to go out here and try to be confident. And I can't say much. I can't put too much really expectations on myself because it's my first meet. So, you know, either I do well, do bad, do good. So I'm just going to go out here and have some fun like I always did.
She first started in track and field when she was 9 at the Colgate Women's Games, and she grew up at the Armory. We can safely say that. She's been a world youth champion, world junior champion. She won the Millrose Games in 2011. The last time it was at the Garden at 400 meters. Olympic relay gold medalist. And last weekend she set the American record at 300 meters and in Boston. As you can see from the shoes and the outfit, she's something of a fashionista. Oh, yes. And has been known to be doing some modeling in Europe. She's open in New York, guys. Vogue, if you're here. Natasha Hastings, born in Brooklyn, educated at AP Randolph High School in Harlem. Hello, Natasha.
Hi, Ian.
So tell me, last weekend, very nice opening. And that track is not known to be fast, Boston, with no disrespect. If anybody here from Boston, I'm sorry. But it's not known to be a fast track for 300 and 400. So that elevates that performance. You're going to face Phyllis and Khadijah, both New Yorkers here.
Yeah, I'm excited, of course, coming off the big race last week. That was a race in particular that I actually went into with no expectation. So to look up to the clock and see, you know, how fast it was, I was pretty surprised. Particularly now at this point in training, we're kind of training through things. My coach made it very clear that for indoors, if we're going to compete, that's fine, but we're training through. The big picture is Rio. So I'm just excited to see what adding an extra 100 meters is going to do. Excited to be back home in my hometown. I remember running on the Armory track before it was even banked, so it's always special to come home and run in front of the hometown crowd, and of course against fellow, you know, New Yorkers as well.
Yes, you know every inch of that track at the Armory, don't you?
I
think
do.
You'd know where if there's a bobble anywhere, wouldn't you? Not that there is a bobble, heaven forbid, but you'd know if there was. So looking forward to this clash, do you have any idea sort of how fast you could run up given what you did over 300? I won't tell a soul, don't worry.
That's the thing. I, of course, you know, ideas have come into my mind, but I particularly have decided that I'm going to focus on execution and not so much the outcome. You know, of course, I would love to perform big, but I do have to remember it's February. So I'm just kind of taking it race by race. Coach and I are working on some things in particular. They worked out really well last weekend. Hopefully they work out pretty well this weekend. But I'm just going to stay focused on the things that Coach and I are working on. And if we happen to come out with something fast, great. But, you know, it's all about execution for me.
That's the perfect answer. Okay. Any questions for Natasha? Steve Sutton in the front here taking lots of pictures. No question? Yes. Oh, Bassett Thompson from the Director of Track and Field of the Army. Oh, he knows you, Natasha, so he'll softball you. He won't ask you a tough question.
First, I must say, welcome home, Natasha. It's always a pleasure having you back at the Armory.
That's what you said to Allyson Felix a few minutes ago, Bassett.
That is true, but there's a special place in my heart for Natasha. She probably don't remember, but she ran for my CYO team when she was about 9 years old. So my only question for you is there any added pressure running at the Armory, considering you've been running there since you were 9 years old?
I would say absolutely. Anytime I run at home in New York, there's the added pressure because, of course, like I said, I want to run big in front of the hometown. I have family and friends that'll be out to see me, and of course, I have a great fan base here in the city. So there's always that added pressure that I want to perform well. But I'm 29 now, so I think I've kind of learned how to manage the pressure and kind of put things in perspective. And like I said, focus on what I came out here to focus on.
Any further questions for Natasha? For the moment, no? And I've also seen 20 different hairstyles over the years, haven't I, Natasha? Huh?
Probably more.
Probably more, yes, okay. Next, I'm going to go to Shannon Rowbury, who's on the other end there. Shannon, of course, in Monaco last year, ran 3:56.29, set a new American record at 1,500 meters, and comes in as the defending champion. So Shannon, hello.
Hello.
Shannon, you ended the race last year with a distinct wobble.
Yes.
It's not going to happen again, is it?
Of course not.
No.
Or I'll do my best.
Okay. So how are you? You in good shape?
Yeah.
You ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I was also at that race in JDL in North Carolina a few weeks ago with the Eatons, and I didn't open up as quickly as I did last year, but we've been that's sort of on purpose because we've been keeping training heavy and hard to gear up for U.S. Indoors and Worlds. So now we're finally in that kind of peaking and tapering phase. So I'm hoping, last year I opened up the season with a 4:22 and then didn't run any quicker. So I'm hoping that this year I can build up to something great here in Millrose and carry that forward through the rest of the season.
Will you be continuing your tribute to your grandmother with the bright lipstick?
Most likely, yeah. It's something, there's, as we all know, there's lots of nerves and there's lots of moments to be, worried going into a race. So it's nice to have something that makes me smile and happy memories.
Good. I'm wondering, because I was watching last night, Genzebi Dibaba, 4:13.31 to set a new world mile record. And I'm wondering, when you see something like that, does that impact your thought process as you go into the race on Saturday? Does it change your tactical thinking in any which way?
As we've been talking about already today, the Millrose track is incredibly fast with an amazing atmosphere, and to go into this race on Saturday and try to not take advantage of the opportunity to have great facilities and a pacer because of what somebody else did, I think would be a really big waste. So, I still have big goals for myself for this year as a whole, and this is an important step along the way. And I want to go out there and see how fit I am.
So do we.
Yeah.
Questions for Shannon. Peter Gambaccini.
Yeah, you mentioned pacer, so you do have a pacer?
That's my understanding, yes, that we'll have a pacer.
And do you know what, have you requested?
I believe that the last I'd heard, it was supposed to be through 800 to 1,000 or so, maybe 208 pace through the 800. So,
800.
Yeah.
And looking towards like 420 something?
Yeah, I mean, the American record's 420, so I'd like to see how close I can get to that. I mean, the number one objective is, of course, to win, because if I don't win the race, it doesn't matter, whatever time I run. So, but, I'd like to go out there and test myself. And, last year I did come up short, and I was swimming home to the finish line, but, I was happy I gave it a go, and, it was still a great year for me and still a great season, so.
Was that a first for you, sort of like crashing that far out from the finishes?
I used to get that in the 800 a lot, or just, the elephant climbs on your back. But and you have it in practice and you have it at other times. So you always hope it doesn't happen in a race, but it's a sign that you gave it your all, and sometimes it happens.
Another question for Shannon? No, thank you, Shannon. Next, 4-time Olympic champ, 9-time world champ. You've got it all, Allyson. Allyson Felix, ladies and gentlemen. Last appeared at the Armory in 2000. Yes, you can applaud. Last appeared at the Armory in 2002. That's a long time, Allyson. When you won the 60-meter dash, and you were a close second to Sanya Richards-Ross, or she was Sanya Richards then, and you were a junior in high school at the time, and that was in the 200 meters to Sanya. So in the meantime, you've competed at the Garden when it was there. But what can we expect from you at 60? Will you finally win Millrose, dear?
I don't know, but it's good to be back, and I don't run much indoors, so it's fun to get to come here and to compete. Definitely in a heavy training period, but it's nice to be able to run a few races and break that up, so I'm looking forward to it.
You have trained at the Armory in the meantime, haven't you? I think we've seen you there working out. Am I right?
Not recently.
No? Oh,
no.
That's it. I have to talk to you about that. So, in all seriousness, expectations for the race? You just you're in the middle of a training phase.
Yeah, definitely in the middle of a training phase. For me, I'm always looking to improve my start. But this is it's going to be a long year, and so this is just, for me, it's just breaking up training.
And how do you keep yourself motivated, Allyson? I mean, you've been at the top for so long. You've won everything, apart from Millrose. But I mean, how do you keep yourself motivated? It's not easy, is it?
Well, I'm a competitor. I love the sport. I'm passionate about it, and that hasn't changed. And so I'm always setting new goals, always, wanting to go for it. In an Olympic year, I mean, you really don't need much motivation. I'm just excited, looking forward to trials, and trying to have another go at it.
Well, we're thrilled to have you back in New York City, Allyson. Questions for Allyson? I'm sure there's going to be questions. Peter?
No, at this time this is actually my last indoor meet. Just a quick kind of few meets to just to not be training this whole time. I've never been huge indoor runner, being a West Coast girl, so just looking forward to this one. No, it's great to see Natasha running well. We get to team up on relays, and it's really cool to see her success, and cheering her on. You're welcome, girl.
That's what I like about the ladies. They're so pleasant to each other, aren't they? Okay, another question.
Allyson, one thing you haven't won is the 200, 400 double. I guess you're 30 now. How much do you remember of the 1996 Olympics, and what an iconic moment that was for Michael Johnson? It's hard for me to believe that was 20 years ago, but being 40, I remember vividly. Do you remember that moment, and do you realize sort of that how you could be on the front page of everywhere if you do that this year?
I won't say I remember it vividly. I got into the sport late, so a lot of my memories, I had to go back and really learn the history of the sport. But of course, I know, what a huge moment that was for him, and the few other people who have done it as well. And so to me, it's just an amazing opportunity to go to trials and just, try to make the team, and just to challenge myself and see where I can go. So I'm excited for the opportunity, and, just training well, and just looking forward to it.
Follow up? Yes.
Hi, Allyson. Ron Flatter with CBS Sports Radio and RSN in Australia. Let me get to the elephant in the room with Rio. What are your concerns about the Zika virus, and what preparations will you be making? Who will you be relying on for information?
My mind is on making the team. I'm not getting ahead of myself. We have one of the hardest teams to make, and my focus is on Olympic trials, and from there on, I'll worry about everything else. So I just focus on what I'm in control of, and right now, that's training.
Thanks very much, Allyson. Next, young man, the defending Wanamaker Mile champion. He's actually won it twice. He won it in 2012, looking to make it a triple, except there's a guy sitting next to him that would like to alter that perception. But Matthew, recently you were quoted as saying that you were concerned about your celebrations at the end of a race is because you didn't want to give Nick Willis any inspiration or extra motivation to beat you. So I was looking at the Boston race and Nick Willis finishing. Did you watch what he did as his celebration?
Didn't see it, no.
Didn't see it. You can use the microphone. You didn't watch to see what he was doing.
Could you show me?
I think Nick can do it rather well. He knows how to break a tape. So you guys were so close. And look how close they are. This is how close they were at the finish line last year. I don't know who set this up, but it's appropriate. So are you guys friends? Do you know each other well? Do you go out to drink together? Do you go to Coogan's afterwards and have a pint?
I was going to say, we don't really like hang out, but yeah, I mean, we
Mutual
bring the best
respect.
out of each other. Nick's a familiar face. I actually remember one of my earliest running memories is at the time was the Boston Indoor Games for Reebok, and I was in high school, and Nick was one of the lead athletes there, and you know, still is one of the guys I look up to, and so it's just a tremendous honor to now be racing alongside him, and as he mentioned on social media, you know, this kind of rivalry and thing that we've been having, I guess, the last couple of years has just been bringing the best out of both of us.
Ali Frazier, repeat, come back, right? So last year, when I watched the race, and I, of course, announced it to the crowd, but you kept Nick wide on the back straight and around the turn. Is that the plan this year?
Well, I won't let him go on the inside, that's for sure. But we'll see, you know. Last year I was in front of him. Who knows, he could be at that stage in the race in front of me. But, yeah, I mean, I think we both know whoever has the pole position going into the last lap, you're going to want to try maintaining that because it's obviously hard to go back around again on these tight 200 bank tracks. So.
I'm going to go straight to Nick, and we can come back. So let's go to Nick. So, Nick. There he is. How do you plan to combat it? And finally, I mean, you've been so close, my friend. You've been second, third, fourth, I think, have you?
I've been second twice and third twice.
There you go. Oh, dear. Is it time to win this time?
I would absolutely love to win. That's the primary reason why I've come back. It's been quite a busy year down in New Zealand, but I didn't want to miss an opportunity. Who knows how much longer I'll be running the mile for, so this would be another opportunity to both race Matt, but also try and win the Wanamaker Mile, which so many great names have been on before.
You've had a long career because in 2001 you came to the Armoury for the first time as a 17-year-old from New Zealand and won the National Scholastic Indoor Mile Championship. So it's been a wonderful career, Nick.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I think this is actually my 18th or 19th time to the city in which I've raced 16 or 17 of those trips. So this has probably been the most prominent destination that I've competed at in my career. So big thanks to, I guess, the elite side of the sport, New York Roadrunners and such that put on these awesome events. But yeah, it feels like home, just like the Boston track does for me. For Reggie Lewis, the Armoury was the first track I ever ran on an indoor track. So unfortunately, I have very poor memories of a lot of track hack and throwing up after races. It's so hot in there, so it's not conducive to...
Open the windows, North. Open the windows.
I like the cooler weather, but no, it should be a really fun experience.
You were an Olympic silver medalist in 2008, Nick. So, and you, of course, you did beat him last year at the Fifth Avenue Mile. Does that help you, knowing that you beat him in New York on the celebrated Fifth Avenue?
Yeah, I think Matt and I have gone back and forth over a number of years. Obviously, he won a couple of medals at World Champs and finished fourth at the London Olympics when I struggled in those races. But then at the World Champs last year, after he ran a much more aggressive race and I was more tentative, I was able to cross the line ahead of him for sixth. He might have been seventh or eighth or something like that. But no, we've just got very similar credentials and the type makeup of our bodies. I think we're both sort of secretly 5K runners with a little bit of speed who use that endurance to run good miles, and we have a lot of similar sort of skill sets which make up our abilities. So it makes it exciting for racing because there's not really a counter way, because our best approach is to run a very similar type of race.
And you both actually, I was talking with a colleague earlier on, and when we look at you two, you both make it look so easy.
Believe me, it's hurting like anything.
Oh, good. I feel much better now.
People say, "Oh, why don't you just try harder?" Like, I'm trying my hardest, but I guess
it doesn't look that way, Nick. It looks like, oh, well, okay.
Unintentionally, we've developed, well, I have at least, and I assume Matt has developed a means to sort of bluff our body into feeling relaxed amidst the huge build-up of lactic acid, and it's not feeling as good as it might look, and so, yeah.
Would you agree with that, Matt?
Yeah, I don't know how many times I've had coaches or people tell me to pump my arms, and I'm like, feels like I'm going like this in the body, but yeah, watching video, it's like down here, so yeah.
Good. Questions for these two guys? Two great guys. We love them. Chris, lots of them.
Two questions for Nick. First off, I know last week you talked about how much Millrose means to you. What's the biggest memory you have of Millrose and the Wanamaker Mile?
Although last year was such a tight battle, I really had a great desire to try and take down Bernard Leggett, who was the king of the Wanamaker Mile, right? And so 2009 was when I thought I had a really good shot at it. I'd just come off a silver medal, and I had a plan to attack before the penultimate lap, get in front, as was asked earlier, and once you're in front, it's hard for someone to go by. So I made a huge move with, it's a 160-yard track or something, so I don't know how far it was to go, but 1.5 laps to go. Blew by him and then relaxed, and then Leggett just absolutely blew the doors off me down the back straight. It felt like I was in quicksand. So I still have nightmares about him just making me look like an absolute turd out there. But so that's what motivates me more to keep winning the Wanamaker Mile. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, since I was racing Leggett and Mottram, and now it wouldn't be a worthwhile achievement if I wasn't beating great athletes in doing so. So if I'm able to do it tomorrow, it would be an earned effort. If Matt wasn't here, I would feel like it was a lesser achievement.
Can I get a follow-up with Nick as well? You're a very outspoken athlete in the sport. Sebco has come out and said that Kenya could be banned in Rio for not being compliant with WADA's code. Can you tell me your thoughts on that and your thoughts on the sport?
Yeah, the whole banning a whole federation is a very challenging subject, because obviously there's going to be a lot of innocent people who are sort of bystanders in that who will be affected as well. So I guess one unique outlook I've sort of thought may be a possible solution is, rather than doing federations, why not create a situation where perhaps, say, the top 10 or the top 15 athletes in the world, they have to train at least 10 months of the year in a country where the country is under the compliant WADA code. So if they're from a country that doesn't have those places, so a lot of my competitors are from Kenya or Ethiopia or Djibouti, a lot of places that don't have the funds to do that. If you're top 10 or 15 athlete in the world, you have the sponsors, you have the means to go and train in Flagstaff as opposed to altitude there. It's not ideal, and it's not necessarily fair, but it's also not fair that a lot of these athletes are getting away with training in places where the testers cannot access them.
Okay, you can come back for more questions afterwards, because I must move to Molly Huddle before we go backstage, as it were. Molly, you were on fire last year. On fire. You won the New York City Half Marathon on the roads. You won the US 10K Championships. You won the 5K in Providence, the national championship. You won the 10K, the 10 mile, the 20K. What a year you had. How do you follow that?
Yeah, it was a prolific road season at the end there. I hope to have a similar build-up this year. The focus, as everyone is echoing, is on making the Olympic team and running well there. So I probably will keep things similar in the front half of the year and not race quite as much, and then afterwards is kind of the fun time to pick off goals that you had wanted but maybe put aside because of the World Championships or Olympics.
This is a rare incursion into indoor track for you. I mean, when was the last time you ran indoors?
I think my last race was 2014 at BU. I did a 5K, but yeah, I don't do much indoor. I'm usually just putting in base work, so it'll be fun.
Is Coach Ray with you this weekend?
He'll be coming up. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what advice did he give you on this 5,000 meters at the Army? Because Kim Smith ran 14:39 here, 3 years ago, something like that?
Yeah, she's a machine indoor. So I think just because it's 200-meter loops instead of 400, you can kind of get into a zone and click them off, especially in a 5K, which can be kind of a long time to focus. So I think he just, the way Kim did it was to get into the zone, and I think he just was advising me to do the same.
Now, you've come from warm weather training in Arizona where you're buying a home, I believe. So getting away from New York to some warmth.
Yeah, we've been going there every winter for a couple of years, so it'll be fun to have more of a base there in the winter months and a place for my training partners to stay and kind of have a little winter camp.
Can I come too? Because it gets a bit cold in New York in the winter.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Come on down.
Anything you've made any adjustments? Are you making any adjustments this year? Are you doing anything different in training from what you did the previous year?
Nothing hugely different. I'm focusing on the New York City half again in March.
There you go. They'll be pleased with that.
Yeah,
Another plug. That's it.
It was a great thing to have on the schedule because it forced me to do a lot of strength work that I think paid off all year, and it was obviously a great event for me, and so I really wanted to come back. So we're mimicking that this year and hoping it pays off again and keeps me strong all the way through August.
You know what they're going to ask you, though, don't you? You know what they're all going to ask you. Will you do the New York City Marathon?
Definitely looking forward to doing a marathon.
The TCS New York City Marathon, I should add.
Looking forward to the day I do a marathon. I'm really inspired by watching the marathon trials this past weekend, although that made me a little afraid to try it, as the end of a marathon, watching that always makes me afraid, but also really intrigued and have some good long runs after watching that race.
Did you get teary when you watched the end? I mean, it was very emotional, the women's race in particular, wasn't it? I mean, I found it so, and I'm sure other people did. I'm sitting there going, oh, dear, 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 oh, goodness.
Yeah, it was amazing to watch, just the teamwork with Shannon and Amy, and just the way the heat kind of made it such a dramatic finish on both sides. And watching Meb finish always makes me teary-eyed, pretty much. So it was inspiring, men's and women's both. And yeah, definitely a great race to watch.
Questions? David Hunter.
Molly, you're such a terrific athlete that your string of successes on the road this fall really wasn't that much of a surprise, but it was sort of the relentless, mission-driven way that you accomplished it. How much did the conclusion of the 10,000 meters in Beijing influence or inspire you for that great string of victories this fall?
A little bit. I mean, I had a lot of those races on the schedule anyway, but I added a few more and maybe just used it as an outlet to run hard and just kind of put in a hard effort. I'm glad I had those races to look forward to. I think it just helped to focus on the next race and helped me go forward.
You wanted to buy a house in Arizona, so
yeah, so there you go.
Yes, Saucony must love you to death, dear. Every time you win one of these races, they're thinking, oh, another bonus check coming your way. But it goes to the house, right? Yeah, that's good. Final question for Molly before we wrap up this side, because we're going to have photo ops. All the athletes here will gather with the various dignitaries in the room for pictures. Final question for Molly? No? Okay. Thank you very much. We'll have pictures now, and then momentarily they'll go behind the scenes for deeper conversations. Thank you very much.
With us, Natasha Hastings, and you're running here at the Millrose, but tell us, last weekend in Boston, #1, breaking a record. Could you elaborate a little for our audience?
Well, I ran the women's 300, which is 100 meters shy of my pet race, the 400. Surprisingly set an American record in there of 36:25. So, like I said, it was a surprise. So I looked up at the clock and was pretty shocked. I wasn't even sure that it was an American record to begin with. But I'm just excited to see how things go this Saturday in the 400 and see how things transfer over from the 3 into the 4.
And Natasha's being humble because I hear that that is like a slow track, and it's a very, very difficult. Now you'll be running on a much quicker track this time. But you also said you had no expectations last weekend. So
Yeah, as I said earlier, I'm training through the indoor season, so I guess that you could say I'm in a heavy training period. I'm also working a lot on technique things. So I went into the race wanting to execute a sound race and not so concerned with the time. So to kind of know where I am in training and the things that I'm working on, it was a pleasant surprise to see that I was able to run as fast as I did on that track and knowing the type of training I'm doing at the moment.
And before we end, here back in New York, does it create extra pressure, or does it make you just even more excited because now you have friends and family and all your work is going to pay off right now?
Yeah, it's a little bit of all of the above. There's the added pressure, but there's also the added excitement to be home. I've been running on the Armory track since I was 9 years old. As I said earlier, I ran on the track before it was even banked. So I'm always excited to be back, always excited to run in front of a hometown crowd and make everyone proud.
And also this gorgeous fashion here, one of my favorites.
Thank you.
Say a shout out to all your fans.
Hey guys, excited to show up big this weekend at home. Make sure you check it out.
With us, Molly Huddle. Molly, tell us the Millrose Games. Tell me your expectation and the event you're running in.
I'm running the 5,000. It's pretty long for an indoor race, and I'm hoping to be fighting for the win and ideally run a PR for indoor for me. So I've never been to Millrose and I've never been to the Armory, so it should be a good first-time experience.
Oh, they say it's a fast track. Now how many laps is that?
It's going to be 25 laps. It's going to be long, but with 200-meter intervals, it's actually a little easier to focus. So.
And then how do you train for that?
Do a lot of long workouts. I've been doing long tempo runs and longer repeats. So yeah, I don't really train indoors. I'm just going to show up and race indoors, but I train mostly on 400-meter track. We're somewhere warm, so I've been lucky enough to train outside the last few months.
Now, are you moving to Arizona?
No, not moving. Just it's my training location in the winter, and I live in Providence, Rhode Island all year.
So you like outdoor running maybe better than indoor?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, so it'll be definitely different for me to do an indoor race.
And then how do you keep your busy schedule? How do you get everything organized? You must have a little knack for that.
Yeah, it's hard. My coach helps me write a schedule every year for what races to do, and then I have agents and training partners that kind of help me shape up the workouts and travel arrangements and all that stuff. But yeah, professional running is kind of one of those funny niche sports where like you kind of just make a little team around yourself and go for it.
And the Olympics are coming up. This is a big year. Will you be going to the trials soon, or?
Yeah, yep. Our trials are in July, so we don't know if we're on the team until about a month before the games. It's pretty stressful, but it's a great meet to watch. There's a lot of drama unfolding usually.
Well, there's a lot of drama, period, with this Zika mosquito, or do you have any thoughts on that? I know you're just sort of concentrating on right now making it to the Olympics, but your thoughts and on the water, I heard some things about the water also. I don't know.
Yeah, I think, I mean, fortunately we don't have to compete in the water, but I'm hoping between the virus and the water conditions, a lot can be addressed in the next, 4 to 6 months. And like the other athletes were saying, we're so focused on making the team. The decision of whether you make it, will you go or not, is kind of not a bridge we've crossed yet. So hopefully things can improve between now and then.
Okay, well, good luck, and say a shout out to all your friends. Friends and fans.
Hey guys, tune in.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Molly.
How far I can get this body to go, and it's sort of been an exciting ride along, and I've actually kept on improving, and I'd like to get into coaching in some facet later down the line, so I guess I'm sort of using different trial and error methods and learning about myself from a coaching standpoint, so how I can sort of translate that into helping others down the line as well, and that's been really educational. And I would never advise other athletes to say it's win at all costs or nothing else matters, otherwise you end up just set up for disappointment all the time.
With this Nick Willis. Now we have the Wanamaker Mile coming up. Tell me, Matt Centrowitz, tell me your goal. I mean, the goal is to win, but you two compete with each other. Tell me how that helps.
Yeah, last year was so close. He just outleaned me at the line. I couldn't quite get around him in that final turn, and it was so agonizingly close to my first Wanamaker mile victory. I've come second twice and third twice as well, so it'd be really, really nice to cap off my career with a Wanamaker victory, but it wouldn't quite be that satisfying unless Matt was in the race to try and beat a true champion, but he's going to make it bloody tough.
Yes. Now it's a fast track, and they're trying to beat that 350. Do you think that can happen?
Yeah, I heard that this week, that they've asked for a pace under 350. My best for the mile is 349.8, so I've done it on an outdoor track. Whether I can do it on an indoor track, I guess we'll have to wait and see, but no, it should be a great race.
Now, do you think the indoor track, well, how many laps is this compared to that outdoor track?
It's 8 laps around a 200-meter track plus the extra 9 meters for the mile versus an outdoor track is 4 laps of a 400-meter track. The challenging thing for a taller guy like myself, I'm 6'1", is you have to handle those tight turns a little bit more frequently, 8 times as opposed to 4. So don't want to get into physics, but the centripetal force is greater the taller you are, so it becomes a little bit more fatiguing.
I see that, yes. And then how do you manage your busy schedule?
I have a great wife who's also my manager. We're Team Willis. We travel the world together. We go to races and training, do everything together, the 3 of us. We've been in hotel rooms for the last 9 nights with a 2-year-old, which can be a bit challenging, but it's a very unique phase of life, and we enjoy doing that together.
And is she an athlete also?
She enjoys jogging in the local fun runs.
Well, that's good, but she's a great support system to you.
Absolutely. I'm not part of the New England Patriots or the LA Lakers. I have to create my own team so that I'm not living out of a suitcase away from my family 6 months of the year.
And are you training also for this big Olympics that's coming up here? Or?
There's an Olympics this year? Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've actually been to 3 Olympics before, so this is going to be my 4th time, and maybe I'll have a 5th in me, but no, this might be my last chance at really getting up on the podium again, so I'd really like to do that again.
And what event?
I won the silver medal in the 1500 meters in 2008, so we'll try and do that again, but hopefully 1 place higher.
Okay, well, just say a shout out to all your fans out there.
Hey, thanks for supporting track and field, and hopefully we can come away with a victory for you in the mile.
Thank you. Good luck.
Cheers, I appreciate it.
Thank you. With us, Shannon Rowbury, who is the defending champion of the Wanamaker female mile. Okay, tell me then, there's a lot of expectations on this. What are you feeling?
I'm excited to be back in New York again, to have another shot at coming home with another Wanamaker mile title. Last year, I went after a fast time and I came up short at the end, so I'm also excited to have another opportunity to really go and push myself and see how well I can run and how fast I can be.
What made you? What were your thoughts afterwards on why you came up short?
I put myself out there, and I think any athlete would know that to achieve great things, sometimes you have to reach for the stars and you might miss them, but you're never going to achieve anything if you don't at least try. So, I came up short with the indoor mile, getting the American record at Millrose last year, but in the summer I came back with, breaking the American record in the 1500 by over a second. So, it's just that's just the nature of the sport, that you can't always succeed, but I feel confident that I'm in great shape and really going to go after it on Saturday.
Talking about shape, where have you been training at?
I spent December in Mexico. My husband is from there, so we were there for the holidays, and I did some altitude training in Mexico City. And then I've been in Portland, where my team is based, for January and February.
Get that altitude training.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that. I mean, I was in the highest altitude. I was in Peru.
Oh, wow.
It took me at Machu Picchu 3 days before my head felt fine to even compete. So
it's a challenge. I think the biggest thing that I find from altitude training, yes, of course, there's the physiological changes, but for me, it's that perception of effort, because everything is harder at altitude. So, when you come back down to sea level, I think you're still exerting yourself in the same way, but your performance is that much stronger.
And then after this, Olympic trials?
Yeah. So there's World Indoors this year in Portland, so I'm gearing up for that. U.S. trials are the weekend before, so making the team there and competing at World Indoors is a big goal. And then And then, yes, of course, U.S. Olympic trials in July, and with the goal of being on the Olympic team and bringing home a medal in August.
Okay, well, good luck, and say a shout out to your fans.
Oh, yep, thank you. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Hey, good luck and fast track. You're going to do it this year.
Thank you.
With us, Matt Centrowitz, the defending Wanamaker mile champion. Tell me what you're feeling right now.
Just excitement, after the press conference, seeing, my biggest competitor, Nick Willis, and all the other great athletes that are going to be competing here, just kind of reminds me about how prestigious this Millrose Games really is and the type of caliber athletes that they bring to this meet.
And is there any extra pressure being a defending champion?
Oh, certainly. But just got to use that pressure as positive energy, and makes me the guy that everyone's kind of gunning for. But I wouldn't want it any other way.
Now, Nick Willis said he just somehow around those corners last time you just beat him out. Well, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, these indoor tracks are so tight, and you can only make so many moves that we knew how critical that was going into that last 100 meters, because once you get around that curve and with 50 meters to go, it's hard for anyone to get past around again. So we both pretty much went all out there, and that was where the race was won.
Now, do you think that 350 cannot be beat?
Cannot be beat?
Can it be beat?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Nick has a 349 PR, and obviously shows he's in tremendous shape. And these indoor tracks now are so fast, and the competition that we have, I think we're all set up for that kind of pace, and just see if we can hold on and bring it out on each other.
And then how do you keep everything together with your busy schedule?
It's not so busy,
He's being modest.
I'm now been a professional for 4 years, and you kind of get the hang of it now, and you just kind of get yourself in a routine, and that's pretty much the best way for me to be able to balance everything.
And you come from a bloodline of runners. Talk a little bit about your dad. How is he?
Yeah, having my father in the sport growing up was the best thing for me. He made sure that I didn't get too much, stayed level-headed over the years, and brought me in the sport just right to keep me hungry each year. And then my mom actually ran for Hunter College as well here in the city. So, just having both parents has just been exciting, and they can understand the sport, and to talk with them about it. It's awesome.
And how tall are you?
Pretty short. With Jordan's 5'10", but without him, 5'9".
Oh, okay. And your weight?
On a good day, 135 maybe. Yeah.
Okay, well, congratulations there, and say a shout out to your fans.
Shout out to my fans. Thanks, guys.
Good luck.
Thank you.
With this Ande de Grasse, and now tell us a little bit about some of your accomplishments.
I could say my accomplishments has been great. Last year I've had a great ride. 2015 was a good year for me. Winning the Pan Am Games at home, getting a bronze medal at the World Championship, and then of course winning a two-time NCAA championship. So I'm looking forward to this year at Rio, and I'm trying to just get the momentum.
Now, this is the Millrose Games here in New York City, indoor field and track. This is one of our prestigious games. Now, tell the audience what event you're competing in.
I'm competing in the 60 meters.
Okay, now that's sort of what's the challenge here? It's the quick start or concentration? Tell me.
Yeah, you definitely need to have a quick start because if you don't get a quick start, you might get left. But definitely, it's going to be a great test for me. I'm not really much of a 60-meter runner, so I'm looking forward to what I can do, and it's going to be a good test for me.
So, what brought you into this event?
Well, I've heard a lot of good things about the Millrose Games, and I wanted to make my appearance and see how well I do, because I haven't got a chance to actually compete at the Millrose Games before. 2 years ago, I competed at the Armory, so I'm happy to be back here at the Armory to compete, and I love the atmosphere here, so I'm definitely looking forward to it.
If you weren't in this event, what other event would you be doing?
I think they don't have the 200 meters here, but I would say I would do the 200 meters.
That's your niche.
Yeah.
And now you're from Canada?
Yeah.
Did they say?
Yeah, I'm from Toronto.
Do you train out of Canada or?
No, I actually train now in Phoenix. I just moved there from LA. Yeah.
Dry heat there.
Yeah, very dry. It's been tough to adjust in for the first month, but I'm starting to get used to it now.
Well, listen, say a shout out to all your fans, and we'll probably be seeing you at the Olympics.
All right. Shout out to Christine. What is it, Christine?
Kristal Hart.
Kristal Hart's show. Happy to be on it. Thank you to all my fans for all the support and love. Thanks.
I'm doing the 60-meter hurdles.
The hurdles. And tell me a little bit about your preparation.
I'm a heptathlete, so trying to get into just a fast race and work on what we've been working on in practice and just stay focused on my execution.
And also, this is a big year because we have the Olympics coming up. Tell me your preparation for that.
Yeah, just continue training, focusing on training and doing some meets indoor, outdoor, the world indoors, and just making that team for Rio.
I know everybody's like focused on making a team, but what about, there's all this controversy with Zika mosquitoes, and what's your thoughts on that?
Focusing on training. Yeah, just keeping my focus on that, and when we have more information about it, maybe come July or August, then making decision based on that.
Have they come up the Olympics, or have they said anything about any extra protection that they may have for you?
I'm Canadian, so I get stuff from the COC,
that's right.
And basically just telling us to continue training and that they'll give us information when they get it.
Okay, well, hey, say a shout out to all your fans there.
Thank you. Yeah, hey Humboldt, and everybody in New York, thanks for having us.
I'm Kristal Hart reporting on the Millrose Games. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the track.